You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Practice management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company. Attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 742 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing John Allen with Peach State Processing. And if you want to hear our conversations about how he takes the pain out of payment processing for business owners and busy professionals, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have John Allen with me. Peach State Payments. It's at his name bar there, and it's scrolling on the bottom there. This is a sponsorship edition. We're going to teach you guys how to save money on your bottom line month to month, transaction to transaction, and helping you find the ways to do that with less stress. And I think a lot of people are looking for this. They just don't know where to go and who to trust. They get locked in to some conglomerate, and they just don't know that there's other solutions out there. So let us help you keep more of your money in your pockets. We're going to talk all about the business here shortly. But before we get into it, I want to let you know our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is we believe in freedom of speech. It's a very important thing in my world, and it should be in yours too. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. John is a practicing physician, so you can tell from the way he's in his scrubs right now that he probably believes that body autonomy is pretty darn important, and that people should have good recourse on how they take care of them and their families. I do tell people that are curious or interested in more knowledge on that topic to find a chiropractor in their city and build a relationship with them. Philosophically speaking, we believe in protecting the sacred trust. If you don't know what that is, go to the show notes, click on the link, and you're probably going to learn more about chiropractic than you did previously. I guarantee you. Even if you've been practicing for 30 plus years, fall back in love with this amazing profession. Getting more philosophically, we also believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. I know I shouldn't have to say this, but they're taking it out of the colleges. They're taking philosophy out of the schools. They're taking the vernacular and putting it as a antiquated conversation. So if you know a chiropractic student that needs chiropractic philosophy, please share the show with them. I know that new grads are not getting it either, so please share the show with them. We also believe in innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and educated intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical, get adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual, and which creates the educated intelligence. And with that being said, this is episode 742 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. John Allen, welcome.
Thanks. Great to be here. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so let's just jump right out of the gates. What is Peach State Payments?
So Peach State Payments is a business that I founded several years ago, and it basically came about from a conversation that I had with a friend of mine who owned a small business and accepted credit cards, had an account with one of the big box conglomerates that was super easy to sign up with. Unfortunately, about 6 months in, there was a transaction that they decided didn't look right. So they basically held several $1,000s of his funds hostage for several months while they did a quote unquote investigation. So during that conversation, I figured there had to be a better way to accept credit card payments. I came across some people that owned their own payment processing company, and I was able to work with them to be able to provide those services to people that I know.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people out there. There's not one person out there that doesn't do credit card processing. Everybody is taking money one way or another, whether they're selling stuff on with the Squared app, or they're using Stripe, whether they're doing transactions in person or they're doing transactions online. How have you found that your solution is helping people keep more of their money?
So there's a couple of different ways. Number one, it's a much more stable platform. So during the onboarding process, we actually go through some underwriting. So you get your own merchant account, where if you work with Stripe or Square, some of the other big box companies, they're actually payment facilitators. So you don't have your own merchant account. You basically, all of your money gets pooled into their kind of big pot of funds and then gets dispersed. There's no underwriting, there's no protection for your account. So we actually do a little bit of underwriting up front to make sure that your account is protected, and we're not going to shut you down in the middle of your work week without any notice. On top of that, we also have some options where we can completely eliminate or reduce your credit card fees by being able to pass some of those fees on to the customer just to be able to use their credit cards. Obviously, they're getting points, they're getting rewards from their credit card companies that you're currently paying for if you're not passing those fees on to the customer. So the most important thing is to do that in the most compliant fashion with the card brands, so that you stay in good graces with them. So that's really the biggest bonus to working with a company like Peach State.
So it's not only helping with the credit card processing, it's actually giving them business advice, like real things that they can do tangibly day to day to, like, not lose by taking money.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have mechanisms to be able to help with chargebacks, with any disputed transactions, those kinds of things as well. So really the focus is to be able to take payment processing off of your plate and allow you to do what you do on a daily basis and not have to worry about accepting credit card payments from your customers, and really just you be your one-stop shop for being able to take those funds and get them to you in a timely fashion.
So, ideal client for you. Who is like your dream client? Who would you like to work with if people are out there watching and they're like, I need to work with this company? Like, who are you looking for?
Ideally, I mean, it's any small business or medium-sized business that really is looking to have a more stable platform. I mean, obviously, I'm a veteran. I was in the Air National Guard for 8 years as a flight physician, so I love working with veterans. I'm also public safety. I work with a lot of fire departments and EMS services. So, those are kind of my passions. We donate 10% of our annual revenues back to a public safety charity in my area. So I love working with businesses like that. But really, anybody that takes credit cards and is looking to put some more money in their bottom line and have a more stable platform is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So Tim Novelli, Patriot Project. Hey guys, if you guys know Tim, tag him in this post or tag him in this live feed. He has over 40,000 clinics that are all giving gratis care to veterans, active military people, people that are Gold Star families. They're giving gratis care, and they're in every state now. I saw him grow this organization from one office to now he's in over 40,000 clinics. So could be a great brand alliance with you. And maybe we could figure out how to give some back to the Patriot Project.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about what we're doing together is we just want to help more people, and I think that that's the bottom line, not only transactionally, but in the real world. Like, who do we go to? Who do we trust? The big banks are, obviously doing their thing, but how can we help people that are in the banking world keep more of their money? I think it's really important. So payment processing should be the last concern is one of the topics you wanted to talk about. I know that chiropractors and anybody in the small businesses, they're spinning their wheels. They're trying to, do daily operations. They're trying to do trainings. They're trying to do patient care. So give me your ideas on how you can help this be their last concern.
Yeah, really the most important thing is just having a stable platform that's going to be up, 99.999% of the time. Obviously, we can't do anything about power failures and that kind of stuff at your local area, but we want to make sure that payment processing is the last thing you have to worry about. So we go through the underwriting process up front. Your account is stable. You get your own merchant account, so you're not going to be shut down. We're not going to hold funds back in reserve. You'll get my cell phone number if there's a problem. You'll have the number for our tech support people. We've got a whole host of people that are available if there ever is an issue, so we can get you back up and running as quickly as possible. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to run their business, take care of their patients, and not have to worry about accepting payments as part of their, one of the other plates that they need to keep spinning on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, I was just back in Iowa for 4th of July, and I went to a restaurant, and their credit card processing just went down completely.
Yep.
And like just watching them navigate and how much stress it put onto that work staff, the phones are ringing off the hook. I mean, it was on 4th of July, like nothing else was open. Like it was the only thing going on in town. And then they did have an ATM inside of the restaurant, so a lot of people had to go take funds out and get dinged for whatever the $3 charge is to take money to go pay for something. So that's already an issue now for the consumer coming in. So like you said, sometimes you got to pass the 3% on to the patient or to the client. But I think it's really important to know that you got good tech support, and you got people that are American based that are going to be on the phone with you, helping you troubleshoot and get through those snags. Yeah,
absolutely. We've got a huge back end team that takes care of all of those problems. And the problems, fortunately, are very few and far between. But when they do happen, we've got the support to be able to manage those and get you back up as quickly as possible with as little impact on your business.
And I know that there's a lot of people out there doing marketing. I do marketing, and I have a remote payment system that I use. Talk to us about like the nuts and bolts about how you can set people up with a remote system to where they can take payments that are outside of the office too.
Yeah, so we have a couple of different options. We have both online and offline card readers that we can provide. So you basically either, if it's connected to a cellular or an internet source, obviously it gets processed immediately. If you're, at an event or you're somewhere without cell service, it'll basically store the information, and then once you get back to a connection, it will process all of those payments. So you won't get real time like approval if you're outside of connections, but once you get back to a connection, then it will go ahead and process those transactions.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to know. Like those worst case scenarios. We lose internet connection, and you're still doing business. What happens? And
you can still take the payments. Again, the big issue there is that you won't get the real-time approval. So you kind of have to know your customer and be able to get in touch with them if there is an issue with the payment. But those are fortunately pretty infrequent.
Now let's talk a little bit about integrations, because I know that every chiropractor out there has a model. They have a EHR. They're using ChiroSpring. They're using Chiro HD. They're using some type of an EHR system. How can you help plug into those pre-existing systems?
Sometimes EHRs can be a little tricky because they understand, and the payment processing, the big box clients understand the amount of money that is available in payment processing. So some of these systems will actually get tied to a particular payment processor that you have to use within the EHR. If there are EHRs that allow third-party processors, we can plug into those no problem using either authorized.net, NMI. There are a couple of other gateways that we can use. If it's a platform that's locked down that doesn't allow third-party processors, we still have workarounds. We basically can get you a separate payment acceptance device. And instead of processing the payment through the EHR, you would just process it on that separate device. It's an extra step, but at the end of the day, it will end up typically saving you money over the rates that you're paying within the EHR.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Practice management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company. Attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle. Yeah, so if you guys are out there and you're running systems and you have a platform set up already with an EHR, reach out to John, see if they can help you out, do a demo with him at peachstatepayments.com and see how he can integrate with you and help you save more money on your bottom line. Now, let's get in a little bit granular and talking about a fresh start, like an upstart, like a chiropractic student that might be watching this and they're like, well, I know I'm going to have to take payment somehow. And you can think about the other side of this, why they want to save money is because their overhead, obviously they have, the bills to pay. They're probably leasing some equipment. They're paying overhead on their spaces that they're working out of. So there's a lot of components that add up pretty quickly to a big overhead price. And I think using somebody from the start and getting in the right way and negotiating with somebody like you can help them maybe build business strategies to save them money and how they can flow everything through a system like yours.
Absolutely. It's much easier to get things started the right way the first time. Just like with anything in business, when you have to kind of reinvent the wheel in the middle, it can be a lot more difficult. But that being said, we're certainly happy to take a look and see if we can save money, make it more streamlined. I've yet to run across a client that we haven't been able to make payment processing, payment acceptance a much easier process with our system than the one that they're currently using.
Yeah, I think that's a hard thing to do, is to pull somebody out of a bad decision. Yeah. and to make them feel gracious about it, to know that whatever they're doing isn't working. They just do it because it's a necessary part of business. And yeah. I think it's really good that you can help people start from a fresh start and help them build that platform to where they have a trusted resource that's going to help them long term. I guess business advice, you're entrepreneur, you've been in the medical world. What advice would you give to chiropractic students like that might not know how to run a business yet?
I think it's all about the relationships that you build, finding people that have been successful and getting advice from them in the same verticals, finding out what's worked for them and, more importantly, what hasn't, so you don't make the same mistakes that they've done already. I've started some businesses that have crashed and burned because I didn't reach out to the right people and I tried to do my own thing instead of just not copying, but using their successful platform as inspiration and how to be successful. So I think that's the most important advice, is just trying to limit the number of bad decisions that you make up front so that you're not starting from, behind the 8 ball early.
Well, yeah, I mean, modeling what works, I think it's really important. And as people know, maybe they don't know, the average small business is out of business within the first 5 years. Yeah. And 50% death rate, like when it comes to running a small business. So, and that's the same thing in chiropractic. 50% of every practitioner doesn't practice after 5 years. So we had to figure out how to start curbing the success rate to know that they're actually going to be successful. And I think a lot of that's keeping their dollars in their pockets. Yeah, and, definitely. Keeping their overhead low and, making good, wise decisions and keeping it consistent and learning from mentors. And I really believe that as I've looked at small business, just running a podcast, you're right. The best relationships get you the best resources. And if you nurture those relationships and you always figure out a way to give back, even if you're busy, 9 out of 10 times, you can always find a way to send a quick message to somebody and appreciate it and to, watch a podcast or listen to something and learn and teach something to somebody. So I think it's invaluable keeping the relationship strong and learning from mentors, and not recreating the wheel, but figuring out how to use somebody else as a resource and say, look, this is working for me. I'd love to have it work for you too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're happy to do a free cost savings analysis. We can look at, if you've got your transaction logs, we can look at those and see kind of, we can give you some numbers on how we can improve your bottom line. And even if it doesn't work, we're happy to sit down and kind of talk about things that we see that we can improve. Anything I can do to, even if they decide not to go with Peach State for payment processing, I'm certainly happy to have conversations and build relationships with people.
So you talked about funky transactions earlier and saving people from pitfalls of getting locked into the wrong system. Let's talk about maybe some success stories that you've seen by helping people work with your company.
Yeah. So my first client, when I started this business several years ago, after my buddy that I talked about, was a medical aesthetics spa in East Tennessee. And it was a nurse practitioner who was starting her own business, and she was using an EHR. She was looking at the rates that they were going to charge her to take payments through the EHR. And unfortunately, it was one of those that we aren't able to integrate with. So we were able to get her a standalone device. She takes her payments on that device instead of through the EHR. And, she was able to put, from what she had projected, another between $800 to $900 a month back into her bottom line just by taking payments through Peach State instead of through the EHR that she had selected.
Well, I think that's just a big testimony, and slowing people down a little bit to pay attention to what can help them actually make more money and getting paid. Like, everybody wants to get paid more. Like, I don't know if I did a poll today on Facebook and I said, hey, who wants to have less of the money that they make? There wouldn't be anybody that would raise their hand, I don't think.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless they need massive write-offs. And I think that would be a whole different conversation. Let's talk about like reporting then. So helping people like report at end of the month, reconciliation on the day-to-day, helping people prepare for their quarterlies, helping people prepare for their yearlies. How can you guys help implement strategies to help your clients do that?
Yeah, so all the transaction data is either directly importable into a platform like QuickBooks, or you can get a CSV download of that information to be able to put into your accounting software. You get a breakdown of all the transactions, the card mix, the effective credit card rate that you paid, like all of that information gets downloaded into a dashboard that you have and is easily exported to whatever platform you use for accounting.
And have you seen this being a huge asset for people's accountants and for people's, I guess, money managers? Have you seen this being something that they notice that there's something good going on?
Well, I mean, the information is really the same. It's the same information that you would get from Stripe or Square or one of those other platforms. The big difference is you just have more money in your checking account at the end of the month than you typically would with one of those the other platforms. So
that's cool. So if you guys have EHR out there, connect with John about how he might be able to plug in and clean up some of your money methods and keeping more money into your accounts personally. And I think that there's a lot of takeaway there for people if they're looking to at least do an investigative like touch and do some back end look and see like, what am I actually like spending in processing fees? What is my interest rate on this money I'm making? How am I like losing that 3%? So I think that's kind of like the industry standard when you say about 3% that people lose.
Yeah, it's between 3 to 3.5% is what they typically pay in an effective rate. And like I said, we'll take a look at that for free. It won't cost you anything but a few minutes of your time to get me the information. We'll break it down, kind of give you the rundown of how much we can save based on the platform or the pricing programs that we have, and really kind of figure out what the best option is. But it won't cost you anything to have a conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Just a little bit of time. I tell
Yep.
people they have three things that they can give to the world: their time, their talent, or their treasure. And you got to give a little time to save a little bit of your treasure.
Absolutely.
At this juncture of the interview, is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to connect with people. I mean, that's really what this is all about. It's how I'm here is, through mutual connections that we have. So, I love meeting people that are that are aligned with business and, making people better. I love making connections and meeting new people. So I'm happy to have conversations with anybody.
Well, John, I really appreciate you being on with me today and sharing about Peach State Payments. If you guys wanted to do this snapshot analysis, go over there, schedule a demo with John and the team, and see how they can help you keep more of the money you work hard for. And I know you guys are out there doing your best to create positive lives for other people, and let us help you create a positive life for yourself with less stress. And if there was one thing we could accomplish today, we wanted to take the payment processing out of the stress mode for you and make it easier. And I think that's what the Peach State method will do. Last question. If you were to say Square and Stripe are this, what is Peach State to you? And what does it mean for you to be at the head of this company?
So Peach State for me is really, Stripe and Square are the easy button, right? You can get signed up and start taking credit cards from them in 5 minutes. It takes a little bit more work to get onboarded with our company, but I think it's because we do it right from the beginning. We do a little onboarding. We go through your information, make sure you are who you say you are, but then it's a much more stable platform for the long term. I think that's the most important thing for business owners is that you don't have to worry about where we're going to be in 6 months, 12 months, 5 years from now. The platform is going to be just as stable today as it is 5 years from now, and you're not going to have to worry about how you're going to get paid from the clients that you see.
Last question. Is there a transaction that's too big or too small for what you're doing?
No, I mean, certainly we'll look at a transaction history, like the average transactions that you've done in the past. If there's something outside of that, then, sometimes it requires a phone call just to let us know that, hey, we've got a big transaction going through. But, there's no dollar amount that's too big or too small for us to be able to process.
Because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are looking for like the next chiropractic table in their office, or they want to buy a digital x-ray unit for their office, or they want a PEMF bed in their office, or a red light bed or therapies in their office, or a shockwave or a soft wave, or like so many other things that are out there that they want to do financing for. Is that something you help them do too?
We don't provide in-house financing, but we've got some connections in that space that we can certainly get people in touch with if that's something they need. We really focus on just accepting payments from their customers, but again, we have connections with a lot of people in the financial space that we can make those introductions.
Well, let's see. That's just it. Is a lot of people, like even me, that was a question that I was curious about, because I'm like, well, I know that there's a lot of people out there that are out on the path of creating business for themselves, and they're selling things or they need to purchase something. So John Allen is a great resource for you guys to connect with. Not only saving yourself money, but if you need connections on how to get that next piece of equipment for your office too, and to make sure you're keeping more of the money in your pocket with less stress. John, thanks for being on with me today. Go check them out, peachstatepayments.com. And just really appreciate you supporting the Chiro Hustle podcast and being on this journey with us.
It's great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, guys. Well, I close out like I always do. Thank you, John, for being on. And you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.